If you know, you know. Now, we all know the fight of the decade, the fight of our lifetime, the fight of our era, especially now, is Errol Spence versus Terence Crawford. Terence Crawford is ranked number 1 pound for pound in the world. Errol Spence number 4. They both on the top 5 pound for pound. Errol Spence is slowly catching up with a pound for pound ranking as he fights big names, so he's catching up with Terence Crawford. That being said, Barbershop Conversation had a great interview with Bob Arum. I'm going to post it on the link in the description box below, where Bob Arum exposed Dan Rafael as the liar he is when he stated that Terence did over 200,000 pay-per-views against Amir Khan, when he only did 125,000, as Bob Arum confirmed. He also talked about Terence Crawford versus Errol Spence. He said that he met with Al Haymon, and he talked to Al Haymon about the Tyson Fury versus Deontay Wilder. That's what they were meeting up for. However, Bob Arum brought up the Terence Crawford fight against Errol Spence, and Al Haymon told him it won't happen in 2019. However, we will make that fight happen in 2020. Most likely the late parts of 2020. That's why Al Haymon told Bob Arum, and it makes sense because Errol Spence is already fighting Danny Garcia in January, so we already know that fight is not going to happen early 2020. That being said, Bob Arum basically stated that he want to make the fight. However, can you really believe Bob Arum? I mean, in the past, he stopped the Floyd Money Mayweather versus Manny Pacquiao from happening, and even Freddie Roach stated that Bob Arum wanted the Floyd Money Mayweather fight to be Manny Pacquiao last fight so he could milk him. And it's the same thing for Tyson Fury, and it's the same thing for Terence Crawford. Now, I believe he thought Manny couldn't beat Floyd at the time, because when Bob was promoting Floyd, Pretty Boy Floyd, he stated that Floyd was the greatest since Muhammad Ali, the greatest talent he ever saw since Muhammad Ali. And as soon as Floyd left and chose to go right, Bob Arum right away claimed that Manny Pacquiao is the greatest talent since Muhammad Ali, when he started promoting Manny Pacquiao after that. That being said, obviously Bob Arum flip-flops a lot. However, he knew how great Floyd was, so that's why he was trying to keep Manny away from Floyd. And it was also Manny's decision because he turned down the drug test in 2009. That being said, Bob Arum is trying to milk the Tyson Fury fight as well. He was already supposed to fight Deontay Wilder in a rematch, and he was guaranteed $40 million in that fight. However, he stole Tyson Fury and signed him to ESPN, gave him 2 bum fights where he fought nobody, and his last fight sold 3,000 tickets, so they depended on Deontay Wilder to build his name because Tyson Fury's name is not growing at all. That being said, same thing for Terence Crawford. He keeping him hostage on the ESPN side, where they promoting Errol Spence more than they promoting their own Terence Crawford, and they promoting Lomachenko as pound for pound number 1 to this day over Terence Crawford. So Bob Arum, his mindset, if there's a mega fight on the horizon, keep one fighter hostage, milk the shit out of that fighter by not giving them the biggest names you could possibly can, and just try to make as much money as possible using the mega fight as a promotion tactic, then make the fight happen down the line years after when the fight is big enough and is way bigger than it was before. And that's exactly what Bob Arum did with Manny Pacquiao, and that's what he's doing with Tyson Fury today. And he's looking to do the same thing with Terence Crawford. That's why I don't take nothing that Bob Arum says seriously when it comes to making fights happen now, not in the future. When he was talking about making the fight happen between Tyson and Wilder now, because upsets happen all the time. AJ was a perfect example. But it was you, Bob, that stole the Tyson Fury fight from happening. You signed Tyson Fury when he was on his way to a rematch. You know what I mean? So how are we supposed to believe that he wants to make the Crawford versus Errol Spence? While during the same tone, he stated that he's going to boycott the PBC. How are you supposed to make a fight happen and negotiate a fight while you talking shit? And Bob Arum did multiple things. Like, he sued the PBC for $100 million and lost that lawsuit, even though he's a lawyer. Then he claimed Al Haymon doesn't exist, even though he just met the man and made Wilder versus Fury rematch and made the Floyd versus Pacquiao fight in the past. And that's not all. He also tried to boycott the PBC, telling the fans to do so when we should be boycotting Bob Arum, because he kept on a lot of mega fights from happening, trying to milk fighters when they were on the same stable as well. For example, Gamboa Lopez, that fight never took place because Toledo upset the apple cart at the time. So Bob Arum is known for these things, and him saying that he wants to make the Errol Spence versus Terence Crawford fights now, either is because he don't have a choice, because he can't match Terence Crawford with anybody else and make money, or the fact that he still want to milk the fight. I mean, it could be both. I want to see the fight next, but if we being realistic, how is Bob Arum trying to make the fight happen, claiming he wants 50-50 split, when out of his own mouth he stated that Terence Crawford did $125,000 against Amir Khan? Keep in mind, Amir Khan been on multiple pay-per-view bouts with Canelo Alvarez, and Amir Khan was a big name. However, Errol Spence, on the other hand, his last fight did $350,000 on pay-per-view against Sean Porter. And Bob Arum claims that the pay-per-view is dead if it ain't a mega fight like Errol Spence versus Terence Crawford. However, it's not true, because Errol's still doing numbers 3 times more than Terence Crawford is doing. So he is the clear A side. So like I said time and time again, Bob Arum, he be saying things just to say things. I mean, the man, whatever he say in the morning, he forgets at night. Obviously, he up there in age. However, Bob, you already made too much money, and you can't take the money with you to the grave. You know, on some Drake shit and Rick Ross shit. You know, yeah, you a boss, but you ain't gonna take that money with you. So make the fights happen for Crawford. Give him big fights, and let Crawford go if you want to go to the PBC. I heard that his contract should be up at the end of the year. So if Terence wants to be a legend in the sport, he got to make the right decision and head to where the big names are, and that's PBC. That being said, drop your comments below. Al Haymon stated that the fight between Errol Spence and Terence Crawford should happen in 2020, later 2020, and in my opinion, possibly early 2021, because Errol still has a Danny Garcia fight, a Sean Porter rematch, and a Keith Thurman fight, and last but not least, even a Manny Pacquiao fight. So there's a lot of fights to make for Al Haymon. Meanwhile, Terence Crawford literally has nobody. So drop your comments below. Subscribe below if you're trying to get smarter by the minute. If you're trying to get dumber by the second, don't listen to these casual fans. Check out my new show, Split Decision. I will be hosting it and dropping it every Monday noon. So be on the lookout for that. Be on the lookout for my next episode. Things is about to be lit. I promise y'all that. Also, click on the notification bell to get notified every time we go live. And follow my man, Lunatoon Boxing, for the funniest boxing memes. If you're not following my man, you're missing out on a laugh or two. So follow my man on IG. All these links will be in the description box below. So go ahead and follow me at Aki TV on Instagram as well. And to be continued on the next episode of Aki TV. Peace, and we out of here.